Alright, on level 9, I want the enemy object to have multiple phases. So if its health bar scale is depleted, if this reaches 0, then instead of destroying the enemy object, we're just gonna move on to the next phase. Level 9 is gonna have 3 phases in total, and in the third phase, if the enemy health bar reaches 0 again, at that time the enemy object will be deleted. With that in mind, let's start creating our level 9. Oh wait. Oh damn. Now I want to use a different sprites for each phase, as you can see here. So this is gonna be the sprite for the first phase, and then the second, and then the third. They are all the same image, just recolored. That's all. Now, first of all, we're gonna import all 3 of these sprites into our project. So going to Assets, Sprites. Let's create a subfolder here. We can call this Phases. Then we're gonna import all of these into our Phases subfolder. There. Let me see how this looks. Whoa, what? Why is it so small? That's unexpected. Alright, I'm gonna resize these images right quick and then be back. Alright, I'm back. Now let's see how these are gonna look. It doesn't look very nice, but you know, appearance is not really the biggest goal here. It doesn't really have to look very good. Alright, now that we have these three sprites for three phases, we're gonna create level 9 scripts. Level 9 is gonna need just one new script, and that is for the enemy behavior script. New subfolder, level 9. Alright, let's open up our enemy behavior script and get coding. I'm gonna yank this from level 2 and then put it here. Just like always, we'll do some adjustments to this. First, we'll give this script a new variable, private int current phase. We're gonna start with 1. we're gonna have we're gonna have 3 phases in total. Going here. When the enemy object's health bar scale is reduced to 0, current phase will be increased by 1. But before that, we'll create an if statement. If current phase equals to 3. If this is true, then we'll destroy the game object. If not, outbar transform local scale we're gonna set the health bar's z-axis, z-scale to its default value, which is 35. 35. Transform local scale y and then 35. Actually, let's not make it like that. Give me a second. Okay, how about we do something like this? If front face bigger than 3, then we destroy game object. Now I want our shooting mechanism to be different, to change with each phase. So at the 3rd phase it's gonna be the hardest, and at the 1st phase it's gonna be the easiest. So we'll create 3 segments here, 3 if statements. If current phase equals to 1, else if current phase equals to 2, and phase equals to 3. Okay, in its first phase, the enemy object will just fire straight ahead. Then, in the second phase, we're gonna make the enemy object shoot 5 bullets with each shot. So let me skip ahead to that. There. Now in its third phase, I'm gonna do something else. Pilots. Int third phase bullets count. Let's make it 20. Third phase current bullet count. While Actually, instead of a while loop, we can use a for loop. I think a for loop can be much useful in this situation. So for int 0, third phase, bullet count. Now we want half of our bullets to lean left and the other half to lean right. To do that, we need to first find the center of our bullet pattern. So we'll write float center third phase bullet count. Okay, then we're gonna add spacing between the bullets. Spacing. How is it? Let me think. I want there to be very little spacing between our bullets, so I'm just gonna write 0.3 f. Then we're gonna use these to create a rotation value. Float rotation 90 degrees. Now we're going to create our bullet object. Game objects, temp bullets. Recommend it again. There. Quaternion. Quaternion. Euler for Euler angles. Euler. So 0, rotation 0. Then we also need to give our bullets their tags. Temp bullets, game object tag. Bullet. Oh yeah, that's right. Since we don't use a while loop, we can just get rid of this. Wait, what? Then why are you giving this warning? It is being used. What? Field is assigned, but its the value is. Oh. Yeah, we'll just get rid of this and then this. Is that right? That's right, okay. Now we're gonna save this and test it. But first, as always, I'm just gonna manually switch our enemy object's current phase. So it is currently at 1. I'm gonna switch it to 2. Let's see if this can work. There, it is working. Now what happens at 3? Whoa. What? Did I do something wrong? Oh, the match is wrong. Is it this? 180 instead of 90. Yeah, it's that, okay. That is pretty easy, to be honest. That kinda sucks. Let me try something else, hold on. So, what if we... Let's get access to this bullet prefab script. And make this public. Now going to this. Temp bullets. Get components. Bullet behavior. Movement speed equals to. So how much is this? 10. Okay, let's make it just 1. Let's see how this is gonna look. Oh. How about 5? I'm just trying to make it look hard. Maybe we need to increase the... Maybe we should increase the spacing between the bullets. How about this? There, that's better. Okay, now that we have the phases done, let's make it so our enemy object's sprite changes with each phase. So for that, we need to create an array variable, public sprites. Is it like this? Sprite phase sprites. There. Now we're gonna put these in here. This goes here, this goes here, and this goes here. I hope that's the right order. Either this or it's actually the reversed. Now, to change between the sprites, we need to have access to our enemy object's sprite renderer. Because the slot we'll use to put our sprites in is inside the sprite renderer component. So going to our scripts, we'll write private game, is it game object? No, sprite render. Sprite render, then at the start sprite render, get component sprite render. There we go. Then at start for runtime, sprite render sprite equals to face sprites current face 0 current face 1 is this. Let me try something. If current face equals to 2 and sprites render sprites Let's see if this is gonna give any errors or warnings. Oh, it was the opposite. Okay. So first phase, it didn't change. Oh man, we really need to lower the health bar to see the sprite change. So we'll do this. There we go. That's good. There, and there is the third phase. Alright, that's that. Goodbye, see you in the next video.